Hello, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I want to demo and discuss the bead, a term that comes up often in watercolor technique. When you drop some water onto a surface, you can see how it beads up and stays together instead of dispersing until it's completely flat. This is a property of water that we can use to enhance our watercolor painting. Because watercolor is a transparent medium, it is a lot harder to cover irregularities and unwanted brush strokes. Once your paint dries, you are left with whatever edges are created at the start. By using the bead technique, we can keep a working edge on our painting that dries slower than the rest of the wash and allows us to create flat shapes without unwanted edges. Here's a good exercise to start practicing this technique in your watercolor painting. Start by drawing some rectangles to fill in. Larger shapes can pose a greater challenge, as you have a larger surface area to try to control and keep from drying. Draw a variety of sizes to get practice with smaller and larger areas. Use your brush to move paint from its well into a larger mixing area. Mix water and paint together until you have a large, fluid puddle of paint. It's important to mix enough paint at the start so you don't run out halfway through. My rule of thumb is to mix as much as I think I'll need, and then double it. Load your brush with paint so that it looks like it's about to drip. When you place it on the paper, it should rush to form a small puddle. This is the start of your bead. When starting your shape, it's normal to have to reload your brush a few times to get a healthy bead going. You should reload your brush often. You never want to spread your paint so thin that the bead disappears. If the bead is puddling up somewhere other than your working edge, you can lift and tilt your paper. Continue painting across your shape, moving the bead further down until you reach the end. When you get to the end of your shape, there may be a puddle left at the end. Clean your brush and dry it on a towel. You can use this thirsty brush to wick up some of the puddle. Repeat as needed. I like to tilt my paper when doing this, otherwise there might be multiple puddles to soak up. On this larger shape, I have to reload my brush multiple times before even painting a full edge. It's never worth trying to stretch your paint to finish an area. If you want a flat wash of paint, take the time to reload your brush and never spread out the bead too thin. Paint a few shapes with this technique, focusing on keeping a smooth and even paint application. This is called a flat wash. After you've done a few shapes with a basic flat wash, you can try a couple more advanced washes. On this rectangle, I'm starting the shape the way I've done all the others. Once I get about a third of the way down, I wash my brush and continue painting the bead with clean water. The bead of paint will rush into this clean water. As I continue to load my brush with water and paint the shape, the paint will get gradually more diluted. This is the first step to painting graded washes. paint a shape with a flat wash, you can charge in additional paint to add some interesting effects. Here you can see me picking up thick paint straight from the well and dropping the color into my still wet wash of orange. As long as the first wash remains glossy and wet, the new paint will bleed and mix into the wash and create a soft, colorful effect. My favorite technique for creating soft, dreamy backgrounds is to use the bead technique with multiple colors. Make sure you have some large, watery puddles of paint to start with, in 2 or 3 colors of your choosing. Starting on one edge, begin painting your watery mix. Every time you need to reload your brush, pick up a different color and continue working the bead across your shape. Here are a couple common mistakes to avoid when practicing this technique. In this example, I skipped the step of moving paint from my well into a different mixing area. This means I'm painting with paint that is too thick to maintain a steady bead. This sets me up for having streaky or glossy areas of paint. Here you can see I am working from a meager puddle of paint, especially for how large an area I'm trying to cover. I never had enough paint to create a strong bead at the start, and was left trying to stretch my paint past what it could actually cover. Once I was completely out of paint, but hadn't finished my shape, you can see me mixing some extra paint. While I took the time to get more paint on my palette, the painting had started to dry. When I was ready to continue my shape, the water from the brush started reacting with the drying paint and I got streaks and backgrounds. This bead technique is essential to learning watercolor fundamentals. I encourage you to try it out, getting comfortable with flat washes first, and then moving on to more blends and gradations. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.